Hi, I'm Sharon Renfro. Before we get started today and get down to business, you've got to see this. This is where I am today. Isn't it gorgeous? Okay. Our hearts and minds at SharonRenfro.com believes that we must open our minds in order to be able to open our hearts to one another. Now, that's a fundamental idea to an alternative way to understand the psychology of relationships. This means that thinking is the key to stable, long-term, committed, meaningfully connected relationships. Today's video explores how thinking can be used as the most adaptive strategy of evolution to understand how trauma influences the individual in relationships. Now, each step of the 3 steps of thinking will briefly be described, and then examples will be listed to help you to learn how to use this adaptive strategy to resolve relationship issues. The first step of thinking is to research, which means that you gather objective and pertinent information. So number 1, the psychological component of the individual, which influences everything from genetic expression to cellular reactivity, is composed of 3 brain systems meant to secure the safety of the individual in relationships. A in that part. The emotional system, the lizard brain, is the most ancient assessment system, and it operates on instinct. The system assesses only individual safety with no consideration of another being and produces only 2 possible outcomes: calm when safe and anxiety when threatened. B, the subjective system, which is a mere check and balance system of the emotional system and produces one of 2 types of feelings: positive to reinforce the sense of safety and calm, and negative to reinforce the sense of threat and anxiety. C, the objective system, which uses thought to research, reason, and reflect, allowing the highest level of self-awareness and concern for others with consideration of long-term outcomes. A bird flew over. Number 2, traumas involve circumstances that represent a threat. Number 3, when we are constantly threatened over a period of time or face a short-term severe threat, we use the emotional and subjective systems to perceive, interpret, and react exclusively. The more intense the threat, the more likely we are to use only the emotional state of mind to assess our situation and to react. Our ability to perceive and interpret accurately degrades. So, in the midst of a difficult, distressing period of time, we're less capable of accurately assessing for threat or safety. The rate of error increases dramatically. Number 4, our only possible behaviors are conflict, fight, distance, flight, pretend, camouflage, and cutoff, play dead. Number 5, rudimentary types of memories are formed that are activated in the future if we face a circumstance that is even remotely similar to the original trauma, automatically activating the behaviors of conflict, distance, pretend, and cutoff. Now, if the original trauma was also assessed by the subjective state of mind, the same feelings experienced in the past will automatically activate. Number 6, this emotional reaction paired with feelings may be an adaptive strategy at the time of the trauma, but may be maladaptive strategies when memories of the event are triggered, although the circumstances of trauma is not currently present. The second step of thinking is to reason, which means we're going to apply logic to the information gathered in order to develop understanding. Number 1, simply gathering the above information can help us to reduce the present reaction to the past trauma, thus allowing for better management of conflict, distance, pretend, and cutoff, accompanied by intense feeling states. Now, number 2 is, with better management, each individual in the relationship partnership can reduce automatic instinctual reactions to improve the accuracy of perception and interpretation of current circumstances, differentiating between now and the past. Number 3, each person can engage in different behavior. Now, step 3 of thinking is reflection, which means we can simultaneously consider ourselves as an individual and our relationship partner. Number 1, reflection undertaken in periods of calm can allow each person to plan alternative perceptions and interpretations that they can use when current circumstances cue triggers. Number 2, with thought, triggers can be identified and reprocessed. Number 3, this planning diminishes the sense of helplessness, distress, etc. at the time that a trauma is triggered. When we know that we have strategies to ensure our safety, anxiety does not stop our ability to think. Number 4, genuine empathy for a relationship partner who has experienced trauma strengthens the relationship. We must open our minds in order to be able to open our hearts to one another. Now, if these ideas have been beneficial, please like us so that others may find the help that they need. You may also find more information and in-depth discussion of these ideas in our free podcast series, Our Hearts and Minds, The Psychology of Relationships, at SharonRenfro.com or CastBox. Thank you so much for listening.